Hey, what's up guys, it's Oakley, and we're going to be doing the coverage of campaign and battle maps for the Rise of Mordor mod. In the background you can see this huge sweeping landscape that's part of their concept art. Bottom left you can see some of the members who worked on the battle maps, the campaign map, all sorts of models. And on the right side, just as a bit of context, I wanted to show you the various factions that they're intending to cram into this map. So going to great lengths to represent all these factions. The unit cards are, or not the unit cards, the faction banners and icons are looking beautiful, still to be tweaked. But here, this is the main problem we're dealing with. In Total War Attila, there's no way to shape the map like you could in previous Total Wars. That's actually the case with all the newest Total Wars, is you can't really modify the map. So we're forced with a dilemma. How do you recreate Lord of the Rings on Europe? So early attempts, and I went and dug through the forum. We're going to watch a bit of a progression to see how they could do this. Early attempts were something like this, throw on factions and places that kind of make sense. So Gondor and Mordor being close to each other, gonna probably put Minas Tirith where Constantinople is, putting Harad and Mordor over to the Middle East, things like that kind of make sense, but don't really, that would be a kind of a cop-out. And so what they said in the forums is on the bottom, please don't panic, we will change the Europe map as much as possible. So they are, in this mod, insatiable, not satisfied with the status quo, and they're going to be doing as much as they can to change Europe into Middle-earth. So how are they going to do this? Well, the key is going to be the mod toolkit, which was released a while back. People have been playing this with a lot, doing a lot of things. So it turns out they can't exactly do what they want, but you can still tweak, move, remodel things. One of the big things that they're going to be doing is sinking portions of the map underground. That's actually going to be one of the main ways that they're going to turn Europe into Middle-earth, is by sinking portions of the terrain, submerging it beneath the waves, in essence carving out from Europe Middle-earth itself. So that is rather promising, and that's going to be the key to open the door to Middle-earth. Then after they have kind of the main outlines, you can add in rivers, you can add in forests, you can change the terrain. So for example, here having it kind of look blasted, craters, smoke effects, that's how you'd bring places like Mordor to life. So with that in mind, people in the forum started pitching in. It was very much a community-led effort. A lot of people posting things about, hey, here's how I foresee, carving up Europe. So for instance, this early map that I found was, kind of similar to the first one we looked at, but they, sunk the western portions of the map. They sunk France, they sunk North Africa, because those weren't really relevant, trying to create the sort of eastern coastline of Middle-earth. And this is going to be the direction that the mod is going, so a lot of people pitching in. Here's a later one where people start to sink more and more, and you can start to see how this all of a sudden no longer looks like Europe. And they've carved out the eastern portion, which still has a lot of provinces. The by Arabia Felix, the oceans over there you can actually raise land, so they've kind of filled in the oceans. Over on the left, they've sunk the land to create a big landmass to the east, oceans to the west, and then within that they're going to try and raise and create mountains. Now there are some restrictions to this. The AI pathfinding is hard-coded to certain areas, so even if you create a mountain range or an ocean somewhere, the AI will still try and walk through it because it's hard-coded to go through there. So what they're going to have to do is use these exclusion boundary zones to craft and force the AI to do certain things. But in any case, this seems like the most promising way to move forward. It's going to be rather tricky, but they do have a tentative path forward. Now this is what the map would look like once you start populating it with the factions. Contrast this to what we saw earlier. This is definitely looking much better. The places where they've kind of put the black bars were to represent areas that start off desolated. And then here someone went in with a finer brush and kind of started to look at, here, how do we want to actually represent this? So for example, here, I believe this was an idea to show, again, you can see the dashed red bars, to show places which are going to currently be devastated. I believe here what they're trying to show is different cultures and religions represented, where different places are. I did this in a previous video where we covered all the religions and stuff like that they're going to include in the cultures. It is exhaustive. Here we're just going to be looking at the map itself. Now, this person here who was contributing to the map started to kind of pen in mountain ranges that were more accurate, big forested areas, Mythaloran, or Athaloran, sorry, and different places like that, very representative of Middle-earth. And now, finally, this is what the mod team gave to us. So you can see how the transition kind of led into this final iteration. Now, I do say final with the caveat. They're definitely going to change a lot of things, but look how much closer this is to the canonical Middle Earth, which you can see on the bottom left, Mordor on the bottom right there, represented with the mountain range, looking very, very good. So they did an excellent job of converting Europe. So for those of us who thought it would be impossible, alas, your pessimism has been beaten down, and look at what they're able to pull off. Now, there's still, like I said, a lot of things to tweak here and there. In terms of the hard coding of the AI, where it can walk, where it can't walk, putting exclusion boundaries, playing with a lot of things. But look at this. This is so freaking beautiful. Everything's starting to be where it needs to be. And they can carve out additional sections. But man, this looks very promising. And because they use the eastern portion of the map, they actually have a lot more provinces available to them. So yeah, they can still represent a lot of the factions that we showed at the very beginning of this. So I am super excited for this mod to have more progress moving forward. But, still they're handicapped or handcuffed by the limitations of current mod tools when it comes to the campaign, which is unfortunate. That's why they did say that if a new Total War title comes out that gives them more options, they will definitely switch over to that one. But in the meantime, they did want me to call out a petition that was created for improved tools to be provided for the campaign map editor. I'm going to go ahead and link that below. We'll see how much traction this can get. I'm not going to comment too much on this. Go ahead and sign the petition if you want to. It's there. Let's move on to the battle maps themselves. This is obviously something they're going to want to deal with as well, and it's something that the mod toolkit allows you to then change. You can create your own custom battle maps, form the terrain, put all sorts of pre-existing buildings, but you can also create and load in your own buildings, which is obviously going to be what this mod seeks to do. You're not going to have, Roman buildings for Mordor. They're going to be creating their own stuff like that. But already you can see how they might want to use some of these elements here for what I believe this is Constantinople. Look how this could perhaps be created to serve the purposes of an Osgiliath or a Minas Tirith or something very Gondorian. So they can reuse some assets, which is going to be good. But yeah, I'm very excited to see what comes out of this. A lot that can be done. I wonder if they can even change the population down there, what they look like, to be more thematic. In any case, this is some of the work that they've been diving into. So this looks very Gondorian. The White Tree of Gondor here. This is obviously supposed to be the top citadel of Minas Tirith. Man, this looks so beautiful. Can't wait till they put textures and render all sorts of stuff and then finally get into the game. Speaking of textures, they're going to great depth to bringing a lot of this to life. This looks like something that's very much representative of Orthanc or something like that. But yeah, the great amount of detail that they're going to, painting each culture with a fine brush. It's just like what they did with the equipment and the armor and the weapons and all that people had. Architecture speaks to that as well, and it's what brings the various factions to life. So here, for example, Tower of Orthanc, yes, this is Orthanc, looking glorious. And this is the model that they play with, so that's it before, and this is what it looks like once it's been imported in with some basic textures, looking beautiful. You can imagine what this will look like once they put some forests around it, some roads, the vast encompassing wall around it, put mountains in the distance. You start to get a sense of how cool this mod is going to be and why it's important to update things. This is going to be a screenshot that was made from a 3D Max rendering of what they have for the Black Gate already built. So this is actually not a painting. This is, a screenshot with some visuals thrown on top of it. But in the background, that is actually something that they have built so far. So obviously looking very cool. I'm very excited for what they can do. They're already, sky's the limit for what they want to do. They've looked into options for having the Black Gate open on the battle map, swinging slowly open, but also open on the campaign map. I heard them talking about having whatever representation of the Black Gate is on the campaign map, having it toggle from open to closed states to allow armies to pass through or not pass through. It's different stuff like that. That's super cool. Anyways, this is just a little teaser of what's been going on so far. Stay tuned for more, and yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you in the next one. Peace out.